questions for me? Any questions? P4, P5, P6 is due today, and you have a test tomorrow. So so I don't know, you asked me about some questions on P6, right? In the email.
Yeah, what is it? I figured it out because I realized that I did some stuff wrong too, and then I tested putting in some answers that were just like square root 20, and
Yep.
it still gave me credit. So
Okay, so but in the test you won't get the full credit. So I'm just want to point out to you guys, when you do P6, when you find the distance formula, right? Let's say you find out this is a square root of like 15. You do not use your calculator and give your answer in decimals. I do not want it. Same thing in your test, same thing in your homework. So what you need to do is you have to break this square root down. So unfortunately, 15, you cannot break it down because in order to break it down, you have to have a perfect square factor. But 15, the only factor you can go in is 3, 5, or 115. This is only factor goes into 15. And none of this is, beside 1, none of this is perfect square. So that's why you leave your answer square of 15. But as what you mentioned just now, if your answer came out to be a square of 20, then you have to break it down to become 4 times 5. And this would be 2 root 5. So this is what I will accept in your test. I'm talking about test tomorrow. But if you give me root of 20, I will take half a point off.
okay.
Okay, so just want to tell, this is test tomorrow, and yes, there will be distance formula. So make sure. So beside this, do you have any more questions for me in
Well,
your
for
homework?
P4, I have questions on 11,
11.
28,
Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. P4, 11, 28.
31,
Mm-hmm.
and 34.
Okay, good. And then if you have anything with P5 and P6, you just let me know because we will be doing this. And today is just you, so you got your whole private lesson today. So so P4, and yes, all this your test tomorrow is P1 to P6. Let me go through the test information before I forgot, because I know some of you might ask for that, and I think I sent you got my email, right? Like last week I sent it out. So the midterm informations is in the D2L. It is tomorrow, Thursday, is from 10 to 12 in the morning, 10 to at noon. This is a Zoom link that we will use. So we are not using the same Zoom link as the one that we have in the class in this one. We cover P1 to P16. There are 15 questions in the test. Some of the questions has part A, B, C. Okay. There will be 30 minutes review time. So at 9:30 to 10 o'clock, you will have a 30 minutes review before the midterm. Make sure you have a computer, laptop with webcam and mic. This is for the test tomorrow. You are not allowed to use a cell phone, because a cell phone will not able to capture it, not able to view everything. So you do need a computer, laptop with webcam and mic, internet connection. Make sure you have a scientific calculators. You cannot use your graphing or cell phone calculators. And then you need papers or writing tools. Usually I will, how do I post the test? I post it in the chat room as a PDF file. You have to download that PDF file into your computer hard drive, and then you have to open it from that location. So if you save it under download, you have to go to the download folder and open it. You can either print out the test. So if you have a printer next to you, you can print it out, or you, if you don't want to print it out, you can write on papers, and then you just write the question, write your name, write your first number 1, and then do your work. You do not need to write the questions out. Okay, you don't have to write the questions out. Once you're done with the test, how do you submit your test? You scan your papers. So once you finish writing all your stuff, you scan it. If you have a scanner at home, use a scanner at home. If you have any apps that you download from your phone, like a cam scanner app, you can actually use that to scan it, and then email it to my email address. Okay, email it to my email address. The other way that you guys do is also you can, if you don't have a scanner or cam scanner, you can take a picture on your phone. Make sure when you take a picture of your phone, there are a few things you have to do. One, make sure you have enough light. So if you make sure you turn on your lights and take it, because sometimes you take it blur up, you take it without light, it's very blurred, I cannot see it. And then make sure you turn the cam. If you using your phone, make sure you use the most highest resolution in your phone. So some of you put it very low, so make sure you go it to a very high. Go to your phone setting and set to the most highest resolution, because some of you go a very low resolution. It came out all pixie dust, all very difficult for me to read. So I will call you to redo it again. So I recommend you to go turn it on to the most highest resolution. Okay. The review for that. So tomorrow at 9:30 to 10 o'clock, I will review this. The review is in the attachment here. So if you click on this attachment, you will get is downloading the review, and the review is actually from the textbook. So this is the review that we will go over. This review have 19 questions, and we have 15 questions in the test. So we will definitely go through some of the questions here. Okay. You do not need to do the first 3 questions. I won't ask the first 3 questions in the review. So if you guys so go through that. There will be no word problems, so you do not need to no word problem for this test. So you don't need to do the 17, 18, and you do 18 because 18 is chapter 6 P6. So yeah, you do 18. 19 no, so it's 17 and 19 you skip. So in this case, you skip the first 3 questions, and then 17 and 19. The rest, please try to do it. You guys all right with the review and the midterms?
Yep.
So we're gonna start with 11. Munira, if you have any questions that you have, we are doing P4 now, and then P5 and then P6. If you have any questions, let me know. I think this is recorded. Yep. So this is sum of difference cube. There are formulas for this, and you do not need to memorize this formula for your test, because in the test I don't ask for cubes. The formula for sum of difference cube is if you have a cube, sorry, let me redo this one. So the formula for cube is if you have a cube plus b cube, that means this is the perfect cube in this case, then you will get a plus b, a squared minus ab plus b squared. Okay. So again, this is a formula for the cube when the sum is plus. Again, I repeat again, you do not need to memorize this formula because it's not asked in your test. If you have a minus, then you just switch all your signs. So if it's a cube minus b cube, then this is a minus b, a squared plus ab. But the back one is still plus, so you don't switch the last one, the last term sign here. Okay, and then this is prime. So what do I mean by that is you do not need to factor this last. Some of you try to factor this. It's always prime, so you will not able to factor it. Okay, so if you want to ask how do we do question number 11, which is x cubed plus 125. So the first thing first is you have to write this in a perfect cube. So this is already perfect cube, x cubed. Can someone tell me what is the perfect cube of 125? So what number, when you multiply 3 times, you get 125?
5.
5, yep. So in this case, that this will be your A, and this will be your B. So you just put this into this formula. So the first one you have is A plus B. A plus B is X plus 5. And then A squared, which is X squared, because A is X and B is 5, minus AB. AB means you multiply A and B. So X and times 5 is 5X. Plus B squared. B is 5, so 5 squared. And we know 5 squared is 25. So this is your answer for the factor for number 11. Okay. You okay there? Sino?
Yep.
Okay. So again, I want to point out to you, same thing with number 12, you were using this formula. So you do not need to memorize this formula because in the test, I won't ask it for so yeah, don't worry about that. 28.
I have a question for the last one. Is that 5 square?
No, 25.
Oh, the last one. Okay.
Yeah, because you had to do 5 squared. 5 squared is 25.
Yeah. Okay.
So you had to put 25 in there. Do not put 5 squared. 28, you have to factor this one. 28x squared plus 35x minus 7x cubed. Now, the first thing you guys need to do here is when you guys do factoring, make sure you write this in a standard form. So what is the meaning of standard form? Standard form means your power has to go from high to low. So usually when you look at this, this is what we call as a standard form because your power is high to low. Unfortunately, this question is not in the standard form. So if I want to write this in the standard form, it will become negative 7x cubed because that is the highest power, followed by a positive 28x squared, followed by 35x. So you have to do this first. So you have to write this in the standard form. So now you have to find the GCF, which is the common factor here, the greatest common factor. Now, because your leading coefficient or your first term is negative, your GCF has to be a negative. Okay, so this is something when you do factoring, if your first term is negative, you have to factor out the negative. Can someone tell me what number can divide 7, 28, and 35?
7.
7. And what is the smallest x power we can use here? X cubed, x squared, or x?
X.
X. So that is your GCF in this case. So you have to factor out negative 7x in this case. That's your GCF. So when you factor negative 7x, this will get x squared. 28 times negative 4, negative 7 times negative 4, you get 28, positive 28. X times x will give us x squared. Negative 7 times negative 5 will give me positive 35. And then you got x. Usually, a lot of students say, oh, I'm done in your test. If you leave your answer like this, you won't get the full point because usually in the test, I will ask to completely factor, okay? What's the meaning when I say completely factor? Completely factor means that if you can still factor this inside here, you can factor. So this actually can be factored. So this is, we can go factor this one. So we got the x squared and x and x, no, x and x. Can someone tell me what times what is negative 5?
-5 and 1.
-5 and +1. Because when you add this, you get -4. When you multiply that, you get -5. And then don't forget the GCF that you have early on, the -7x, you have to put it in the front. So this is the answer for question number 28. You guys all right?
Yep.
And yes, in all your tests, I do ask you for completely factor. That's why this is what you have to do for me. The next one is 31. So 31 is this one. Again, it is a cube. How do I know it's cube? It's because there is a cube here. That's how I can tell. 4t cubed minus 32. So you do have to use this formula for question 31. Now, before we do use that formula, when you factor, always, the first step when you factor is to find GCF. Okay, no matter you don't do the formula or this, you factor out the GCF first. What is a GCF for this question 31? What number can we factor out? 4. So we can factor out 4. So what you have in this case is t cubed minus 8. And this is a perfect cube because 8 t cubed is root power 3, like what we did last time, you know, x. And 125 is 5 cubed. Can someone tell me what is 8 is? 8 is what number multiplied 3 times by itself, you get 8?
2.
2. So this will be your A, T will be your A, and 2 will be your B. So now we can use this formula, but don't forget, this is a minus sign. So you have to use the orange one, the orange side, okay? So this factor will become t minus 2, because A in this case is t and B is 2. And then you square the A, become t squared. And then the orange sign say is a plus. And then you multiply the A and B. So t times 2 is 2t. And then plus, you square the B. And the square of B is 2 squared. In this case is 4. And then don't forget that you factor out the 4 early on, the GCF 4. So you have to write that. So this is the answer for question number 31. You guys all right? Munira, if you have any questions on P4, you can ask me because we're doing P4 now.
Okay.
Okay. And finally, 34 is given us by 36x squared minus 49y squared. Now this one for 34, this one is a perfect square, not perfect cube. So you don't use a perfect cube. And how do I know this is a perfect square? It's because that is square in here. So what is the perfect square of 36x squared? So what times what is 36x squared? 6x. And what times what is 49y squared? 7y. Don't forget the y because you have x and y. And because it is a perfect square, so it's a minus sign in the middle. So we can do the conjugate. The conjugate says that one of these has to be minus and the other one has to be plus. So using the same 6x and 7y, one will be minus, one is plus, or you can put plus and then minus, doesn't matter. And this is the answer for question 34. Okay, yes, perfect square will be come out in your test. like the one that we did just now with the perfect cube, is not coming up in your test. So concentrate on perfect square and also concentrate on this question that we did just now, 28. This one also will be in your test. So don't worry about the perfect cube I told you earlier. Anyone, you guys have any questions in P4? Before we move on to P5. P5 is actually the most difficult one of everything. Questions? All right, let's do it P5. Anyone have any questions on P5?
Yes, I have, number 5. P5.
P5?
Yeah.
And what else?
And
Just number 5?
For me, I have questions on 14, 20, and 25.
14, 20, and 25. Okay. I'm gonna, do you guys need to take pictures of this, or you think you're good to go with this, what we just write on this page?
I'm good.
You're
I
good?
take most of it.
yeah, I wrote already. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so we talk about P5 now. So we start with question 5 here. Now, the domain, this is very important because we will use this a lot in college algebra, trig, calculus. This class is the first time you see it. Does anyone know what is the meaning of the word domain? Okay, so domain in this case is what X value can take. That means what number can you, what X value can be put, substitute inside there. So if you have any polynomial expression like 9x squared plus 6x minus 3, you can plug any X values you want here. It can be numbers, it can be decimals, it can be fraction, it can be square root, it can be I. So the domain for the polynomial is all real numbers. And I don't care if this is a power 2 or this is a power 3 or this is a power 4. Your domain is still all real numbers. However, for question number 5, because it's given us a polynomial, yes, 25x squared minus 9 is a polynomial. Usually the domain is all real numbers. However, that is what we call as a domain restriction, where it says x is greater than 0. So that's the reason why that your domain in this case has to follow this. And does anyone know what's the meaning when I say x is greater than 0? What number that is for x that is greater than 0?
Is that negative?
Can it be negative number?
Mm-hmm.
Is negative 3 greater than 0?
No.
No, cannot be negative number. So the only number that is greater than 0 is what?
Anything more than 1?
Anything that is positive, like 3. Is 3 greater than 0? Yes. 1.5. Is 1.5 greater than 0? Yes. So anything that is positive is greater than 0. So that's why your answer in this case is all positive real numbers. You guys all right?
Yep.
So this is for that case. Next is question 14. Now, in order for you to simplify this, you have to factor it, and then you divide the common factor out. Okay. For the 14, again, the top one is not in the correct form. If you remember, last time we did number 28. So you have to write this in a standard form. So it's a negative x squared plus 8x plus 9. So I have to rewrite this in the standard form. And then the bottom one is 3x squared minus 26x minus 9. So now you need to factor it. So remember last time, you had a factor twice, one for the top and one for the bottom. I remember last time that if you have a negative in front on like question 28 that we did just now, you have to factor the negative out. Okay, because of the GCF here is negative. So you will get x squared. And when you factor the negative out, all your sign will be changed. So this negative x squared become positive x squared. This 8x become negative 8x. And then this 9 will become negative 9. And then you have to factor this inside the parentheses. So can someone tell me x squared is x and x? What is a factor for 9? Don't forget, when you add, it has to be a negative 8. What times what is 9? Mira?
Let's say -9 and 1.
Negative 9 and positive 1, because when you multiply this, you get negative 9. When you add this, you get negative 8. So you get a negative 9 and positive 1. And don't forget, you still have the negative up front from the GCF that you factor early on. Okay, that's important. So this is how you factor the top one. Now we will factor the bottom one. Now, do we have a GCF for the factor for the bottom one? Can you factor anything out before we do the factor here?
3.
Can 26 goes to 3? 3 goes into 26?
3 goes into 26.
Can it?
Oh wait, no.
No. 27, yes. 26, no. So there is no GCF in this case. Now, usually when you guys see there is a 1 in front of your x squared, the factor is easy. This is called a trinomial, a 3 terms factor easy. But now we have a 3 in front. This is what we call as the trinomial factor. Any number in front beside 1, that is called a difficult factoring. Difficult factoring means it takes a lot of time to factor. So does anyone know how to factor when you have a number in front of your x squared? You did it in P4. This is what we call as an AC method. So you have to use an AC method in this case. What is an AC method? A is the first number, the first leading coefficient. C is the constant term. So AC means you times A times C. So A times C is 3 times negative 9. 3 times negative 9 is negative 27. So you do the same thing as what we did just now on this negative 9. You try to figure out what times what is negative 27. But when you add them, you will get negative 26. So can someone tell me what is the factor here that when you multiply this, you will get negative 27. When you add, you get negative 26.
-27 and 1.
Okay. So like last time, but this time you cannot just do like, oh, this will be x minus 27 and x plus 1. Because last time, remember, we got negative 9 and 1. We just do this. This is wrong. Okay. Because of this, the AC method is tough. So what you need to do here in this case is you have to split this into 2. So what we have in this case is 3x squared. This will be using this 2, will break into 2 terms. Negative 27x plus 1x, and then the negative 9 behind you right now. So what we try to do here is we try to make these 3 terms become 4 terms where the middle term will consist of 2 terms here. You break it into 2 terms. And these the two numbers come from the AC here. And how do we factor 4 terms is we do grouping. So we cut this into half. So what are they in common between these 2 terms here? What can we factor out?
3.
And
Or 3x.
also x. Okay, this one can you factor out 3x. So what you get in this case is x minus 9. Okay. What are they in common on the back 2 terms? There is no common factor. So if there's no common factor, you just do 1. Then you still get back x minus 9. So if you find out there's no common factor on any number, so you can still factor 1 out. This is called factor by grouping. And every time when you factor by grouping, if you know if you're on the right track, this parenthesis and this parenthesis, the numbers are all must be exactly the same. Not just the number, even the sign has to be exactly the same. Means they're exactly duplicate. So the factor in this case will be x minus 9. And then the leftover, which is the 3x plus 1, will be on the other's factor. So this is how you factor what we call as using the AC method. And that is only happens if you have a number in front of your x squared. So if you compare this one and the factor for the top and the factor for the bottom, now we can divide them out. So what can you divide out here? What are the common factors you can cancel? You can cancel the x minus 9. So your answer is a leftover, negative x plus 1 over by 3x plus 1. And yes, you cannot cancel the x plus 1 here because this is not x plus 1. This is 3x plus 1. And you cannot cancel the 1. This is your final answer for question number 14. Yes, this is super tough. I didn't say this is easy. Questions? We have room for 20. Yep, this one takes a bit more time. Okay, I can do 20. Now, 20 is adding and subtracting rational expression. So we have x squared minus 5 over x squared minus 4 plus 2 over x plus 2. So in order for us to find to add fractions, do you guys know how to add fractions? 1/4 plus 1/6. What you guys have to do first when you add fractions? Do you guys know how to do this? This is the easiest one here. Mira, I need to mute you. Anyone know how to add fractions here?
Common denominators?
Yes, you have to find the common denominator. How do you find, what's the common denominator for these two?
24.
24 is correct, but it's not the least common denominator. It is the common, a lot of students just take 4 times 6, right? This is correct. It is called a common, but not the smallest one. So usually how do we do this is we factor it. So 4 in this case is 2 times 3, right? 2 times 2, right? 6 is 2 times 3. So you find out that 2 here has a common factor. So I will write this as 2 one time. And the leftovers, the 2 and the 3, you multiply again. So this is actually what is 2 times 2? 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So this is how you find the least common denominator in this case. Okay. So it is the same thing as number 20. You also need to find the LCD here, the least common denominator. How we do it? We factor it out. Remember last time we factored this? So can you factor x squared minus 4?
Yep.
which will become
X minus 2 and then X plus 2.
Can you factor X plus 2?
No.
No. So remember last time I circled the common factor. So the common factor in this case is X plus 2 because they all have the same common factor. So that will go to your LCD X plus 2. And remember what happens, the leftovers that we didn't use? Like last time, see this 2 is a common. I put 2. The leftovers we just put in down there, which is X minus 2. So the LCD in this case is X minus 2 and X plus 2. So this is already, and then what you do, okay, once you get 12, what do we do here next? Once you get 12, you try to make this fraction looks like 12, right? So like 4, you need to multiply this by 3. But when you multiply by 3, you have to do the top and the bottom to make it 12. And then you do the same thing here. You have to multiply this by 2. So you get 12 also for the top and on the bottom denominator. So this is what you guys do when you do your fraction. So this is the same thing because this is my LCD here. So what now? This one has both of these LCDs. So you do not need to multiply anything to this one because it really have the X plus 2 and X minus 2. But this one, what term is missing for that if you compare it to your LCD?
X minus 2.
So you have to multiply this with X minus 2, but whatever you multiply on the bottom, you have to multiply on the top. So this is something we just did over here, right? And then the last thing we did here, if you do the fraction, this will be 12, which is the same as your LCD. And then you multiply this. 1 times 3 is 3. And then 1 times 2 is 2. You add this, and then you get 512, right? This is how you add fractions. This is the same thing. So in order for us to do this, so your denominator will be the same as your LCD, which is X plus 2 and X minus 2. The top one here is 5. You cannot do anything with this. This one you have to distribute. So you will get 2X minus 4. Okay. And then like here you combine like terms, 3 plus 2 become 5. So here you also have to combine like terms. So 5 and the 4, negative 4 is a like term. So it's 2X plus 1 over by X plus 2 and X minus 2. Now, if this can be factored, you have to factor it. And if your factoring has a common, same with the denominator, then you can cancel it. So for this case, there is no factoring. You cannot factor 2X plus 1. And there's nothing common between this one. There's nothing cancelable with the top and the bottom. So this is your answer in this case. Okay. If, there's an if you add this and you will, let's say you get 2X plus 4 over by the X plus 2 and X minus 2. And if, I'm saying if, so if you do this, so what happened is this 2X plus 4 can be factored because there is a GCF here. What is the common factor for 2X plus 4? You can factor out the 2. So you will get X plus 2. And then you got the X plus 2 and X minus 2 here. The G. So what happens now is because the X plus 2 here is common, you can cancel it. So for this, if you have this, you will get 2 over X minus 2. So this is what I'm going to point out to you. If you guys have, if this is factorable, you need to factor it out. And if they are common, you can cancel it. You guys okay here? But the real answer for this question 20 is this is your answer. This is just is if. Okay, that is just if it no. You guys with me here?
Yep.
Again, these questions will come up in your test. So make sure you guys know.
I have a question. So the answer is going to be 2X plus 1
over by X plus 2 and x minus 2. Yep.
Is that x minus 2?
Yep. This one. Yeah, this whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And you do not need to FOIL it. Please, in the test, in your homework, do not FOIL this out. You're wasting your time. Okay. So leave it as this. You do not need to FOIL it out. All right. 25 is the next one. I need a new page here. You guys need to take pictures. Go ahead and take pictures if you want. 25 is the next one. All right. Number 25. This one is, now this one you do not need to worry about in your test because it's not going to come out in your test. X squared plus 3 minus 5 plus x squared plus 3 to the 4th. Okay, this question is asking us to do the common factor here. So usually when you guys, remember last time when you do like x cubed plus 7x squared minus 3x, I always tell you guys to what? Your GCF is always the smallest one, right? So this fellow, if you look at this question, these two terms are exactly the same, but look at the powers here. One is a -5 and one is a 4. So as you guys remember that when you do the GCF, you always pick the smallest one. So this is the smallest one. So we can actually factor out x squared plus 3 to the power of -5. Okay. So this is the, so like last time over here, you factor out x, right? Because that's the smallest one. So for this case, x squared plus 3 to the power of -5 is the smallest one. So you can factor that one out. So when you factor the x squared plus 3 to -5 out, so this is no longer there because it's out. So what you left here is x squared plus, now,
X squared.
this x squared is here. And then this, you will give us something else. It will give us x squared plus 3 to the power of something. Okay. Again, this is for calculus. Yes, this question is a calculus type question, which is like three levels above you. So that's why it's not in the test. So what is this power? This power is to figure out by taking this power 4 minus with this power, which is -5. Okay, so in order for us to figure out what power is this, you take 4 to the minus -5, and this will be plus. So this power in this case is 9. Okay. So how do we check your answer? You just distribute this back. So when you distribute this to this, you will get x squared times x squared plus 3 to -5, which is good. You got this. And when you distribute this two, because they are exactly same base, so when you multiply, you add. So when you take -5 plus 9, you will end up with 4. Okay, so so this is your answer. But as you guys remember in the first section of second section, I don't like negative exponents. You guys remember what happens when you have a negative exponents? What do you do with it? It's like P2 or P3.
They go down to the denominator?
It goes down to denominator. So this is the same thing here. So what happened is, so the top one is x squared plus x squared plus 3 to the power of 9. Then this will go down to your denominator. So that will become x squared plus 3. The -5 will become +5. So this is your, oh, actually we can, no, yeah, this is your answer. And you cannot cancel this or simplify this, is because there's an addition here. So this will be your answer in this case, yes. And as I told you already, do not worry about question 25 because it's not going to be in your test. Same thing with 26. Same thing with question 26. It's not in the test. And 27 and 28. So mostly anything below 25, 26, 27, 28, those four questions, you don't need to worry about it because it's not going to come up in your test tomorrow. Because these are all calculus level. I should not assign these kind of questions because it's not it's not gonna, so you only see this in your during calculus 1, so which is way ahead from you guys. So your answer for question number 25 is this whole thing. Okay, so how do you type this in your whole thing here is so your answer is this icky one. So in order for you to type in, first thing you need to do here is you have to put in fraction. And then you do x squared plus parentheses x squared plus 3, close your parentheses, to the power of 9. So how do you do power in your keyboard? Is the caret key. So you have to do shift number 6. That is how you do your caret. X squared plus 3 to the power of 5. So this is how you do question number 25. So it's a lot to type in there. And as I mentioned, do not worry about this in your test because it's not in your coming out your test. So anyone have any more questions with P4? Beside 5, 14, 20, and 25. The next one is P6. Anyone have any questions on P6? So again, not in the test. So you do not need to worry about this in your test. Too difficult. Calculus, yes. Again, you're 3 levels below calculus. No. Anyone have questions for P6? P6 has 2 important formulas that you need to know because in your test, no formula is provided in the test. The formula is to find the midpoint, which is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, and y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So midpoint in this case is like a middle of the point, so like an average. So in order for you to find the average, you add them up and divide it by 2. So that's why you add the x values up, divided by 2, and you add the y values up, divided by 2. So that is your midpoint.
That one MP. The first one?
Yeah.
MP?
Midpoint, yes, it's called midpoint.
Okay.
The distance formula is it's like Pythagorean theorem. So is a squared, so x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared. So this is the distance formula in this case. So when you do P6, they will tell you, so I think you guys know how to plot points, right?
Yep.
That one, I think you guys know what to do. Like this one, okay. So like question number 7, for example. So if a question wants you to find the distance between 4, 2, and 2, -5, and the distance is this formula. So the first thing you need to know is to label them. So this will be your x1. This will be your y1. This will be your x2. This will be your y2. And then you plug it into your formula. So x1 in this case is 4 minus x2 in this case is 2 squared plus y1 in this case is 2 minus y2 in this case is -5 squared. This is a formula for that. And again, if you do not know this formula or you mess up the sign, or the square, your whole thing is wrong. So that's why it's, P6 is it's easy, but it's very heavily on these two formulas. So in this case, this 2 negative will become positive. So what we have in this case is 4 minus 2 is 2. And when you square it, it becomes 4. 2 plus 5 is 7. When you square 7, it becomes 49. And then you need to add it. So 4 plus 49 is 53. Now your answer is not 53. Your answer is square root of 53. Okay, don't forget you need a square root. And then students will take out the calculator and do the square root of 53, which is 7.28 something. Nope. In your test, I don't take this answer. Okay. So if you put 7.28 in your answer here, they will mark you wrong. Your answer in this case is square root of 53. The reason why is because this square of 53 cannot be break it down because 53 is a prime number. So that's why this is your answer. But if you calculate this and your answer came out to be square root of 50, then you have to do what? You have to break it down. Can someone tell me what times what is 50? It has to be a perfect square numbers.
5 times 10, and then 10 can be factored out.
Nope, 5 times 10 is no good because neither of these are perfect square numbers.
2 and 25.
Yep, 25 and 2 is the one that you need because 25 is a perfect square of
5.
5. So your answer is 5 root 2. So if you, in your test or in your online homework, you get root 53, leave as root 53 because it cannot break it down. But if you get root 50, you have to break it down to become 5 root 2. This is the one I need. So this is how you find the distance. Okay.
I have a quick question about midpoint for what is it, P6 17?
17.
Yep, the formula is for adding, but then the numbers that they give you is negative. Do you still add?
Yeah, yep, I'll show it to you. So like 17. So the point is given is -8, -4. Sorry, my 8. And 8, 8, right? This is 4. And then 8, 8 is the other one. So this will be your x1. This will be your y1. This is your x2. This is your y2. And let's say the question wants you to find the midpoint. So you will use this formula. And midpoint, the answer is a coordinates. Okay, so just to point out to you, when the question asking you to find the midpoint, your answer is in coordinates like this. So what you do is you take your the x1, which is -8, plus with x2, which is 8, and then divide by 2. So you take this one plus that. And then you take the y, do the same thing, -4 plus 8 divided by 2. So this will give me 0 because -8 plus 8 is 0. And this will give me 4 over 2, which is 2. So your midpoint is 0, 2. If, let's say if I switch them around, 8, 8, and -8, -4. So this is x1, this is y1. You still get the same answer, x2, y2. So if a question is asking you to find the midpoint, so you will take this 8 plus with a -8 divided by 2. And then you take the y, which is 8 also, plus with a -4, because your y2 is -4 divided by 2. And don't forget, when you see a plus and minus give you addition or subtraction.
Subtraction.
Subtraction, yes. So this is actually is 8 minus 8, which in this case will be 0. Same thing over here. This will become a subtraction. So 8 minus 4 is 4. And then when you divide by 2 is 2. So again, your answer is still the same as him.
And then do we have time to go over 13?
For this P6?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Right. I don't have room here, so.
I'm good. I took notes on that, so.
Okay. Munira, you okay? She's still here. Okay, number 13 is saying that you have a soda company. The sales is 2010. 2010, the sales is 35,107. And in 2014, the sale is 45,992. So the question is asking for the midpoint. Use the midpoint formula to estimate the sales for 2012. Because as you know that when you add these two numbers and divide it by 2, you will get 2012. So what do you do here in this question is you do the same thing because it's a midpoint. So you take this, add them up, and then divide by 2. And then that will be your answer in this case. So it's calculator because it's a big number here. So just add them up and divide by 2. 35107 at 45992. And then take this number divided by 2. Let me see, do they need any? So you cannot round it. That's my calculator just now. Where do you go? There you go. So your answer in this case is for this answer. 40549.5. You okay?
Yep, and that's all the answers for
The questions you have. So again, class, you have a midterm tomorrow, and your test tomorrow is from P1 to P6. It does include this midterm, and for P6, do not worry about like the one that you just talked about, this one or all this crazy word problem. Mostly what P6 is about is this one, like number 17, where first you have to put the coordinates point here. You guys know how to plug in here, the points. Make sure you select this first, because that's the coordinates, not. And then -8, -4 is here. And then 8, 8 is here. That's it. Don't draw a line, don't do. You just need to plot the point. Same thing in your midterm tomorrow. You just need to plot this point. You do not need to draw a line or do anything on it. No, just plot this point and then find the distance.
So this one, do we have to take a picture like this or how we do on our?
That's it. Online, you just do like this.
Oh, just online?
Just, yeah, this is for online. For your test, you have to use your pencil to plot it.
Oh, okay.
The graph will given to you.
Yeah.
You just need to plot it. And in your online homework, you just plot like this, and then you find the distance and midpoint, and then you're done. So this is the point looks like. See that?
Yeah.
So you just make sure you click on this first before, and then plot the coordinates. Okay. So this is actually this P4, P5, P6, the homework is due tonight. Then the reason why I want you to concentrate is because your test is tomorrow, And then, but for the following week, you will have 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. Okay. So that is, I can tell you that 1, 3 is the one that is difficult because 1.3, if you look at the homework 1.3, they're all word problems. I can tell you they're all word problems. Okay. So on next Wednesday, we will go through this. They're all word problems, I can tell you. So 1.3 is word problems. But 1.1 should be 1.1 and 1.2 should be easy. How you graph equations. In order for us to graph equations, you just need to put in plug in your x in here, and then draw a graph. So I showed you how you do this, how you draw a graph. This is for once you in chapter 1 here. So so what you do here is you figure out what is your coordinates. So you plug -2 in here. So you got y plus 1 equals to 4/5 times -2. This -2 is over 1. So when you multiply fractions, you do not need to find LCD. LCD is only do when you add or subtract fraction. So you multiply them straight across. So 4 times -2 is -8. 5 times 1 is 5. And then you subtract 1, you move the 1 over. So once you move the 1 over, you subtract 1. Because positive, when you move over, become -1. But this one, you have to make them the same. Now you need to find LCD. But 1, you can make them anything the same. So as long as your top and bottom the same. So I will change this one to become 5/5. The reason why is because the denominator is the same. So the LCD here is 5. So -8 minus 5 is -13. So this will be -13/5. And the coordinates will be -2, -13/5. Because this is x and this is y. And then you repeat the same thing by plugging this number in there. So I do one more time. So y plus 1 equals to 4/5. Now your x is 0. So when you plug 0 in here, this will cancel out. So you will get y plus 1 equals to 0 because anything multiplied 0 is 0. So y in this case is -1. So when x is 0, y is -1. So this is 0, -1. Okay, so you do the rest of it. So now so you got all these coordinates. You only need 2 coordinates point to graph this straight line. So how do you graph this is first, this is a nice number. This is icky because it's fraction. It's hard to draw here. So first thing when you do it is you have to set this one. You see this symbol? And when you click on this symbol, that 3 things appeared. You have to choose the first one. What is the difference between these 3 symbol here? This is a line segment. A line segment means it doesn't go to infinity. This one is a ray. Ray means only one goes infinity. When you draw a straight line, the straight line has to be both infinity. So make sure you select 2 arrows here, not one or the other. And then now you plot in 0, -1. 0, -1 is here, right? Okay. And the next one we have is -2, -13/5. 13/5 is 2.6. So if you go -2 and -2.6, now you see they don't, if you click on here, they don't give you -2.6, they give you -3. Do you see that? Okay. This is a wrong line. The reason why this line is wrong is because your answer should be -2.6. So how do we change this? Is you click on this line, you see the -3 here. It should be what? 2.6, right? -2.6. So you manually change it. You guys with me here?
Is that we're gonna change it to 2.6?
Yep.
Oh, okay. You can't change it from there.
Nope, you cannot change it from here. but you can change it. So let me repeat again.
Yeah. Mhm.
Clear everything. So so first click on this and click it back. So you have that 2 arrows.
Yeah.
0, -1 is here.
Mhm.
This point is easy to find.
Yeah.
-2 and this you use your calculator to divide is -2.6.
0.6. Okay.
And if you click here negative here, but unfortunately when you click it, it just give you -3.
Oh.
So and this is wrong graph. So what you need to do is you click on this little line 1. You see line 1, and click on it and change this 3 to 2.6, -2.6. And your point will move now to -2.6. And this is, and you only need 2 points, two points to draw a straight line. Okay, so you do not need to do like 5 points. Do not do 5 points, they will mark you wrong. Okay, they only need 2 points. So any 2 points you pick from this 5 points, but I didn't finish all this, right? Because you have 5 points, and that's how you do this line.
Okay.
Okay. This one is a multiple choice, so you can do it on your own. I will post some videos on this 111213, so you guys can watch it. This is from my previous Zoom class. So
This one is homework, huh?
I'm sorry.
This one is homework.
This is homework. Yes, this is your homework.
Okay.
This is your homework that is due next Wednesday.
Okay.
But right now you need to concentrate on P4 chapter P first, because your test is tomorrow. And then once you finish your test, and then you got these 3 sections.
The test from P1, P2, P3, that?
P1 to P6.
Oh, P1 to P6, huh?
That's your test, is P1 to P6. You read my email, I sent it to you. So the next one, the 1.2 is easy because it's solving equation. So this one, I think you guys can solve. You know how to solve for x, right? Right? This is all solving equation. So that you -4 and then divide by 7. So the so 1.2 is actually 1.1, 1.2 is a bit easy because they are solving basic equations. Use your calculator here. If it's a decimals, use your calculator. Fractions. This is the one that I will teach you how to do it now. So because we got some time here. So if you have if you want to solve equation and your equation consists of fraction, like question number 15, this is 1.2, because everyone hates fractions. So yes, in your test, you will see that you got fractions like this. How do you do if you have fractions? It's the same thing as when you add or subtract fractions. You have to find the LCD first. But before you find the LCD, make sure every single term is a fraction. This is a fraction. This is fraction. This is not a fraction, so you have to make it over 1. Okay, your x here is not a fraction. That is a fraction. So now looking at all the denominator, 4, 2, 1, 2, what is your LCD in this case? Your LCD in this case will be 4, because 4 goes into 4, 2 goes into 4, and 1 goes into 4. So that is your LCD in this case. So what you do next is like what we did in P5. You want to make all your denominator become 4. So this one is really 4. You do not need to multiply anything. This one is 2, so you need to multiply this by 2. Then you get 4. This one is 1, so you need to multiply by 4.
By 4, yeah.
This one you need to multiply by 2. Okay, so now your denominator is 4, 4, 4, 4. So when you solve this, you can cancel your denominator off. You can only do that if you have all your denominator is the same as your LCD, and when you solve it. Okay, So when you do the chapter P, we are not solving it, so you cannot cancel the 4 out. So what you left is your numerator, 5x plus 2, 1 times 2 is 2, equals to 4x minus 2. Now you can solve this one. So how we solve it is I want to make the smaller x on the other side. So this is a plus, so I move it to that side. So when I move that 4x is a positive to that side, it becomes minus 4x. And I also move the 2 to that side because the positive 2 become negative 2. And then this negative 2, I draw it out. And then 5x minus 4x is 1x or just x. So your answer in this case is negative 4. Or if you do not like this way, you can also do this way. This is your textbook teach you. I'm fine either way because your answer is still the same. So I will subtract 4x on both sides. This is what usually a lot of students do, which is the same thing as what I just did over there. And then I will subtract 2 on this side so that the 4x and the 2 will go cancel out. So what I left here is x, and what I got here is negative 4. So again, your answer is negative 4 here. So this is how you do questions when you have a fraction like this. Okay. Same thing happens to question 16 and 17 and 18. So like this is your LCD. So for like number 18, 7 over 3x plus 1 minus 27, 3x minus 1, and this is all equals to negative 9. So remember, the first thing is I make everything a fraction. This is fraction, this is fraction. So this is not fraction, I make it over 1. And then I find the LCD here. 1, you cannot find LCD. So the LCD in this case will be 3x plus 1 and 3x minus 1, which is this 2. And then what you do next is to multiply this with your LCD. So the missing part here is 3x minus 1. This is 3x minus 1. The missing part here is 3x plus 1. And the missing part here is both 3x plus 1 and 3x minus 1. So I have to multiply both of this, top and bottom. So what do you notice now is your denominator is the same as your LCD, 3x plus 1 and 3x minus 1. You can cancel the whole denominator. And now you solve your numerator, your top one. So the top one, you have to distribute your 7 here. So you will get 21x minus 7. Now this one is tricky, is because this one, when you distribute it, is not 27, it's actually negative 27. So when you distribute this, a lot of students make mistake here is because they forgot to distribute with the negative. So negative 27 times 3x, if you use your calculator, is negative 81x. So 27 times 3 is 81. And negative 27 times 1 is negative 27. Okay. Equal. Now I have no room to write here. I'll write down here. So this is another tricky part because you have to FOIL this follow out. But the good thing about foiling this one out is because it's a conjugate, so your middle term will cancel. So you just need to do the 3x times 3x, which is 9x squared. 1 times 1 is a negative 1. The middle term, 3x and a negative 3x, they will cancel out. But do not forget that once you finish foiling this, you have to distribute negative 9 too. So negative 9 times 9x is a negative 81x squared. And negative 9 times negative 1 is a positive 9. Okay. And for this kind of questions, because this is your quadratic, you have to make this equal to 0 and you solve it. So what do I do here is I will move all this to that side because it's a negative. When you move, become positive. So I'm going to combine like terms here. So 21x minus 81x, I get negative 60x. Use your calculator. Negative 7 minus 27 is a negative 34. And then this 81x, when you move over, become positive 81x squared. And the positive 9 become negative 9. And you have to factor in this case. But again, early on this class, when you factor, you have to arrange this to the standard form. So the 81x squared will come first, followed by negative 60x. And then negative 34 minus 9 is negative 43, which is not good. And then you have to factor this one. Well, I don't know why this is so difficult. It should not be that difficult. I don't know why this is difficult. Wow, is that 21? Yeah, I think this is super tough. Again, I won't give you this kind of tough questions in your test because factoring that is horrible. Yep. 7 plus 27. This is very difficult actually. Plus 9, 43. Am I copying? Next thing is I always check, do I write down the wrong question or not? I did write down the wrong question. See, I can tell once I look at it, why? Because I forgot to put an X here. Yep, that's why it's wrong. See, one wrong question, throw the whole thing out. So now this will become 81x squared. And this will become negative 27x. Sorry about that. So I can tell you once I see something fishy, because this is a prime, 43 is a prime number. So I know something is wrong. And once I know something is wrong, I will check back the question because I might write the wrong question down. In this case, yes, I did write down the wrong question down. So that's the reason why that I will strongly suggest when you guys put the question out, make sure your question is correct. So now I have to redo the whole thing again. So yes. So like terms, the 81x and 81x will cancel. So so when you move this, the 81x and the 81x, those two 81x squared, because when you add them up, they will cancel out. So what you have in this case is 21x minus 27x, that will be negative 6x minus 7. So this is a bit easy now. Yeah. Negative 6x minus 7, and this one become just 9 because the 81x will cancel. And then you move the 7 over there, so become 15. Not 15, 16. 9 plus 7 is 16. And then you divide this by negative 6. Now, if you write this answer in your homework or in my test, you won't get full points because it can be reduced by 2. So your answer in this case is negative 8/3. So, yep, I can tell you that once so this is negative 8/3. But the next thing you need to do, class, is to check your answer. This one is a special case. You have to check your answer. The reason why is because you have denominators. And as you guys are aware about it, your domain here is you cannot have this become 0. So when you put negative 8/3 inside to your x, you notice that you don't want to make it equal to 0. So you have to check it. So 3 times negative 8/3 and then plus 1. So that gives us negative 7. So this one looks good. Now you do the same thing on that side. 3 times negative 8 over 3 minus 1. That is negative 9. This is good. So so as long as this number doesn't come up to be 0, this is checked. But what happens if when you plug in here and it becomes 0, then your answer will be rejected. Then your answer will be no solution. Okay. So in this case, your answer will be negative 8 over 3. Okay. I will post some videos on this. Yes, this is tough. When you do this type of questions, this is tough. So I will do, so this is what I would recommend you guys to concentrate on your midterm first.
Yeah.
That is P1 to P6. And then after that, do try to do 1, 1, 1, 2, and don't forget 1, 3 is a word problem. So we will talk more about this on next week class. Okay. Anyone have any questions for me before we end today's?
What is it for P5?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? When I watch some of the videos of them doing the problems, they get the answer and then sometimes they say like x cannot equal and then like a certain number. Do we have to do that on the test?
Yes, that is for domain.
So we have to label. So we have to put in x cannot equal.
Yep. So it looks something like what you did as your domain piece here. Let me show it to you. P5. This is when the question asking you for domain, like this one. So if a question is given us like this question number 7, x minus 3 over by 1 minus 9x, and the question is asking for a domain. As you know that for fractions, this denominator cannot be 0 because anything over 0 is undefined. So what we do is we solve for x here. So you figure out 1 minus 9x equals to 0. You guys know how to solve for x here, right?
Yep.
So you move the 1 over. So you got negative 9x become negative 1. Because positive become negative and you move over. And then you divide by negative 9. So x in this case is 1/9. So your domain in this case will be all real numbers. So this is a symbol for all real numbers because I'm lazy. Except x cannot be 1/9. So you just slash it up. So your answer in this case will be A here. So this is for when you have what we call as rational expression. Okay, but when you do question 8, it's a square root. Now, as you know that square root, you cannot have a negative number inside. You can have 0. You can have positive. So every time when you do a domain for a square root, you will take this and make it greater than or equal to 0. Greater than or equal to 0 means that greater 0 means it's positive. Equal to 0 means it's exactly 0. So you begin to solve for x here. So when you guys, so it's like solving equations. So you move that 2 over. So it becomes negative 2. And when you divide this by negative 1, this is the property of inequality. So every time when you divide with a negative number, this inequality will switch around. So this will be x and this will be 2. So your domain in this case will be all real numbers, where x in this case must do less than or equals to 2. So your answer will be the next one, this one. So this is only happens when you have a square root. If you have a cube root or a fifth root or a 7th root, odd roots, then your domain is all real numbers. But if you have square root, 4th root, 6th root, the even roots, then you have to perform this. Okay. So make sure you know the different types of domains that we have. One, fraction domain, which is this type. One is the square root, which is this type. Cube root, fifth root is all real numbers. Any polynomials is all real numbers. So yes, as what Sino says, you watch the videos, and I think I did explain to you in the videos which one is yes. And this is what we call as find the domain. So if you look at your review for your test here, one of the questions that in the midterm here that I showed it to you early on, they ask you to find the domain here. See that? Find the domain of this. So how do you find this domain? How do you find the domain of 6 minus x over 1 minus x? Is this belongs to a fraction, or is it belongs to the root?
The fractions.
Fractions. So if it's fraction, then this 1 minus x cannot equals to 0. So how do you figure out this domain in this case is you take 1 minus x equals to 0, solve for x. You know what has happened? 1 minus what will make him 0? X in this case will be...
-1.
No.
Oh wait, no, +1.
It's 1. So what is your answer in this case? Your domain is all real numbers and x cannot equals to 1. That's how you do question number 15.
Okay.
And this is when the question is asking you to find the domain. Yes, you will get a question like this. So we will review this more tomorrow in the Zoom at 9:30. So I would recommend you guys to attend the 9:30 review session, but the test starts at 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. Okay, don't forget the test starts at 10 to 12. This is a Zoom session, Zoom link, and it is from P1 to P6. You got 15 questions in here. So this is the one I posted in D2L. So please read through it. Very important.
So it's
Right.
for the test and for review is the Zoom meeting is the same?
Yes, the Zoom meeting, the test is 10, the Zoom, the review is 9:30.
Okay, but it's the same.
It's the same. Yep, same code, same link. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So you just stay. Once you finish 30 minutes review, then you have Zoom on the test.
Okay.
On the same Zoom. Yep. All right, I have to get going because I have a class here. So if you have any questions, email me back.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.